Michel Bourez takes on Pat Gudauskas in the first heat of finals day. Pat Gudauskas back on tour and making a huge dent at the second stop of the World Surf League Championship Tour. He was knocked by Joel Parkinson at Snapper Rocks relatively early, but Bells, he brought some serious intensity and flow. He's had 5 previous starts at Bells, but this is currently his personal best result in the making as he takes on Michel in beautiful Bells conditions.
Pretty hard to do against Michel Bourez, let me tell you.
Michel Bourez preparing his answer just up and out. Holds the position and priority. 28 on the clock.
He looks super fit. He's in great shape. And, well, let's see what happens here.
One of our favorite bells is sounding in the distance. First wave of finals day goes to Pat Gudauskas, still with a ton of energy. Even highlining that section with the momentum he has for a big first turn. Redirects grab rail off the lip to start, right into a frontside wrap. Patty Goodang drills the whitewater. Still plenty of room on his opener. Frontside wrap, here comes the lip to hit. Frontside float to get out of there, and he's feeling the energy with that claim. Pressure on Bourez out of the gates. Pat Gudauskas demanding that first wave. Makes up next against Owen Wright. This is Pat's first wave.
All right. Well, head judge Patama said first maneuver very important out here on the Bells Bowl. You can see Patty G going into this first maneuver. And just grabs that rail. A little bit of extra stability there. Great form from Patty Gudauskas. Nailed that first maneuver. Now just joining the dots all the way through that inside. Keeping that board moving. Really important to do to keep that speed through the inside section. It's going to make that last turn just that much more dynamic. And Pat Gudauskas absolutely nailing that one. Really taking advantage of that first exchange. Controlling the inside position. And absolutely unleashing a huge turn on that first maneuver. I love the shot from upstairs. You can see how that wave starts to sort of back off a little bit. And that line bending out to sea. This is really good signs for the rest of the day. That tide's going out. We're going to see some incredible surfing through this day. And Pat Gudauskas setting the pace here this morning on finals day, Joe. What a way to start from the young Californian.
Battling on the QS, doing big wave tour events. Watching this. Michel Bourez, an important ride here, needs a 6.18. There's that serious car from the Tahitian. Front side wrap. Trying to just bury that rail on the open face. Speedy little roundhouse cut back into a little foam hack finish. And now we'll get our first real comparison of the first heat of the day.
Yeah. There's a smaller wave, had a bit of whitewater influence from the wave before. Connecting nicely with that first turn, which he's been doing this entire event. And again, that beautiful body torque off the bottom, but right here, a bit of a mistake. Catches the rail, hangs him up, and wipes off a lot of speed. Getting his leash tangled in his front foot and then wrapping into that last turn. So a series of nice maneuvers, but just nothing really dynamic, nothing really with pizzazz and that wow factor that we saw from Pat Gudauskas' opening maneuver. And I think the mistake halfway through is really going to influence the score from Michel Bourez. Finals day, the judges are going to be very critical with mistakes. They're going to be very critical with wipeouts. Completing your ride is very important here today, but starting it even more so.
A solid powerhouse, oftentimes called the most powerful surfer on tour, which always makes sense when we hear that. Gudauskas getting started, backing up the 6.5. Big stretched out carve, little layback check in the pocket. He'll come out of it with some energy. Two clean wraps into a frontside float to get out of there. Pat 6.5 start. Remember, Michel had the answer on the last, just under. Pat on the opener, a 5.27. So Pat still had his lead. Now he's got a backup score.
Let's have a look at Patty Gudauskas' last ride. 5.17 on this occasion. Nice opening maneuver, getting himself right back in the guts of it. And then jams it in the pocket, catches the rail a little bit. So that's kind of what took a couple of points off this ride. I mean, you really need to get those smooth, clean maneuvers. And then in my eyes, a bit of a safe finish there for Paddy G, but just getting those 2 scores on the board, and that's the difference what we've seen about him. Instead of going for broke on that last manoeuvre, which we all want to see, by the way, finishing his waves, identifying the fact, oh, hey, I've got a 6-5, let's back that up.
He's thinking about a 5th belt today. Michel Bourez winding up. Setup wrap. More wall down the line for the Tahitian. Clean top turn, comes out with some speed. Section delays his appearance into the open face. So a quiet 2-turn combo. Meanwhile, last of Pat Gudauskas, a 5.17. So Michel needed a 6.41 there to take the lead.
I mean, easy to say sitting here, Joe. You want those long walls, don't you? But you also want them to slow up just that little bit and offer you that scoring potential. But you can see Michel, first turn, kind of wiping the spray out of his eyes. Second maneuver, nice, tight in the pocket, but had to cut it short because he was sort of behind the section a bit too much, and that one ran away. So maybe a mistake there from Michel. 2.93. Paddy G's last ride puts him in the lead. Michel needing a wave in that good range, Joe.
Cool to check out the Jeep sessions that follows Championship Tour athletes Jordy Smith and Malia Manuel on an amazing adventure. We're getting right back to business here. Pat Gudauskas, big wrap off the top, stretches out the layback, somehow is still fighting for the finish. They'll end up letting that one go, so incomplete.
More of a tactical move, and just as I thought, he was going to light it up a bit more, put a bit more into his maneuvers. Have a look at this turn here from Paddy G. Just extending the body, throwing the board away, but trying to get it back. Almost pulled that one off, unfortunately for him, not to be.
Out a wave, so he uses priority. Well, this wave still counts with 10 seconds to go. Catching up to Pat on his big air reverse finish that's incomplete.
Wow.
On the World Surf League Championship Tour, Rip Curl came on board back in 1973 as the major sponsor and hasn't looked back. Michel on a very important ride. Big float, tail dropping. Sticks it, needs more. Aggressive hack as he's playing catch up to the open face. Down to 90 seconds. Bourez needs a 6.41 here to get a spot into the semifinals. Couple of big turns. Pat, rock and roll float deep behind him. Bourez finishes on his feet.
As he drives down around this section, first turn very important. Look at that big turn, almost loses his footing. Jams it up through the whitewater again. So 2 solid maneuvers right there from Michel Bourez. Now the question is the finish. He's got to nail it. The judges want to see more through that inside section from these guys today. You want those excellent scores, you got to do something special through the inside. What's he got for us? A little safe, but he needed just to finish on his feet, didn't he? Let's have a look at this first maneuver here. Big, deep bottom turn and gets that lip line floater. Look at the body position getting over that front foot and then just air under the board. Very dangerous. Look at that front foot disengages. How did he make that, Joe? Puts his foot back on the board and goes straight into the next turn. So kept that flow going, which was so important to then get around the section and unleash another turn. So unbelievable stuff right there from Michel Bourez. Paddy G had that one big turn out the back. Michel Bourez with 2 solid maneuvers out the back. I mean, we're splitting hairs right now.
He's been so happy to have the Grommets here as board caddies through Surfing Victoria. They sign you up with a local Grom for your caddy. He's had Charlie Mahoney from 13 Beach every morning, getting him psyched, sometimes even beating him down to the beach in the dark. Still intense moment. Bourez waiting for the decision. Scores are in. A 6.17. Not enough. Pat Gudauskas into the semifinals at Bells Beach.
Yeah, that's